football franchise, talking about that guy. Hoogie, Tyler every week. Heavy analytics, competition real steep. Whoa, that's sweet. Oh, in this belief. Nick so sick, man, bringing ships the whole fleet. Goats, not sheep. Follow every tweet. Don't sleep, always find sleepers on the street, boy. F3, winning every single league. Money back guaranteed, but it's free. Welcome to the franchise. Welcome to the franchise. Let's go.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast. My name is Nick Sigmund. With me, as always, is Tyler Gee and Jonathan Robertson.
Yo! Dude!
Episode 66, we're going to talk about, obviously...
3 episodes away.
Well, we're skipping that one. We're going to talk about news, maybe who to look at, your waiver wires, some people we think did awesome, will it continue, and some people who did pretty bad, and, you know, our opinion on if it will continue or not. We also have another thing. We're going to talk about players that we think are going to have a comeback, or players that are staying where they are, either up high or down low.
We call this segment the "Don't Stop Believing" or "Believe It." I believe him, B. And that's it.
I believe him, yo. I don't know why, but I do.
And it's going to make for an interesting episode because I think at this point you have to start pivoting one way or the other. Like, you got to make, like, I'm throwing out the names. I'm just looking at the stats. I'm looking at what they've done so far. And I can't just ride in on a championship with my team's names are good.
Yeah.
Like, the names should have done well.
You had Keenan Allen and Odell Beckham, and you were like, oh, yeah. And right now you're like,
Dalvin Cook and Leonard Fournette.
Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a mess. So, I mean,
let's get into
how do we
it.
find value?
We'll talk about the news, and then we'll get to that.
The fantasy news.
Amari Cooper to them boys. First round pick. My gosh. So the Raiders have 3 first round picks now. They changed their name to the Browns, and the Browns changed their name to the Raiders.
It's interesting.
Yeah, Jonathan shared us a tweet with, for now, John Gruden's next move, he will trade himself to anyone. I will say this, though. I know that I'm going to give Jonathan his little moment in the spotlight for his Cowboys. I mean, you know, this is obviously like, you know, a tale close to heart for Jonathan Robertson, and rightfully so. I mean, he's a Cowboys fan, and they needed some love on the team for wide receiver. But I will say this: I was curious myself because I thought, you know, the Oakland Raiders are going to need to probably fulfill that wide receiver spot. I mean, Jordy Nelson is no young buck. Martavis Bryant is not one to be super excited about. I mean, they dropped him at one point and re-signed him. And then next in line, too, Seth Roberts. So, I mean, obviously, if this is a rebuild type of team.
Jared Cook.
Yeah, I mean, so, yeah, this does help him. They're probably going to have to use this to get a wide receiver, the pick that they're getting. So I was like, I'm curious. And now, next year's draft is not any of the drafts in the past. I get that. But here are the last 4 years, the wide receivers that went in the first round. Okay? So you just kind of get an idea. DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Corey Davis, Mike Williams, Corey Coleman, Will Fuller, Josh Doxson, Laquan Treadwell, Amari Cooper, John Ross, Kevin White, Devontae Parker, Nelson Aguilar, Bashard Perryman, and Philip Dorsett.
In the year right before that, I'm pretty sure it's like Mike Evans,
now,
Sammy Watkins, Odell Beckham.
It was, but that is not the rule. That is the outlier. And not only that, but I tweeted that little list out, and I said on there, I did not include these people, not because I was trying to be secretive or to prove a point. I did it because I ran out of characters. Yeah. I was literally about to go to the next year, and Twitter was like, stop. And I was like, okay.
And
My bad.
Just think about that draft. Mike Evans, Odell Beckham, Sammy Watkins, and Kelvin Benjamin, all in the first round. Mm-hmm. And we're still talking about them.
Well,
maybe not in a good way, but we're still talking
not Kelvin. But, I mean, it's just what I'm trying to point is, and you make your own decision. It's just I think we put a high gravity on a first-round pick, and I think you should. But, I mean, you also got to think, what kind of wide receiver, and I think this next year's draft is going to be great. I mean, we're going to talk about it during the offseason. We're a Dynasty podcast as well. And we'll talk all about these wide receivers, and they look good. I mean, just a little sneak peek. They look good, the wide receivers. But I don't think that it's as awful of a trade as everybody. Like, there's so many people that are, like, losing their minds. And I'm like, listen, I don't know if I would have paid a first for Amari, but I don't think this is not a terrible trade for the Cowboys, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Jonathan?
It's not terrible, but I wouldn't want it.
I don't know. I was talking to Nick about it, when we first got here. I don't know how I feel about it. There was a poll on the Cowboys website said, was he worth the first? Yes, no, or unsure. I clicked unsure. I don't know.
I don't know.
It depends. Number one, there's a lot of question marks. Number one, what Amari Cooper do you get? Do you get 1,000-plus yards, 7-plus touchdowns Amari Cooper? Do you get the droppable, can't catch anything Amari Cooper? And then the second thing is on the Cowboys is, can we utilize Amari Cooper correctly? Number one. Number two, the Cowboys are still in that crux to where, thankfully the NFC East is abysmal, and we could still make the playoffs, and if we do, then it's a bottom 15 pick, and that's okay. If we don't make the playoffs, then it's a top 15 pick, and not so much. The second thing is we just gave a first round pick for a wide receiver that is going to require payment next year. He re-signs next year.
And that's the other factor, that like that rookie pick that you all gave up, the Cowboys gave up, is a little different. I will say, as far as quarterback play, though, a lot of people were like, well, do you feel like he's better with Dak Prescott than he was with Derek Carr?
Yeah.
I feel a little bit better, but I mean, just looking at back to last year, not going too crazy. Derek Carr had 515 attempts, 323 receptions. Dak Prescott had 490 attempts, so about 20-something less, and only 308 receptions. So about the same. Completion status for Derek Carr was 62.7. Completion status for Dak Prescott was 62.9. So, I mean, now different wide receiver scores. I'm doing the best I can do. As far as yardage, Derek Carr had 3,496 yards, so right around there, and Dak Prescott had 3,324. So, I mean, on paper, as far as a throwing quarterback goes,
yeah,
they're not much different. Now, different wide receiver core is not. It's apples to oranges a little here, but I mean, Dak has always done better in fantasy because of his legs. But as far as a throwing compatibility for Amari, I don't know if it's a huge upgrade. I will tick it up a little, but I don't know if I'm dancing in the streets.
You can't get much worse, and that's where I'm at.
Did you like that little trade rumor that Derek Carr could go to Jacksonville?
I mean, you could trade the entire Oakland team. No one would notice. Oh, they picked up some undrafted free agents.
At this point, do they just have a sign that
out.
says, "Let's just get to Las Vegas"?
And I think a lot of it too is and this was a tweet that was sent out is it going to help Amari Cooper to get out of Oakland, where it apparently appears that everything is burning down? It's not good. I gave Nick this stat. There's 2 wide receivers in the NFL in 2017 that have greater than a 12% drop rate. Who are they? One's Amari Cooper.
Dez
and Amari Cooper both have a 12% drop rate.
Nice.
Here's the thing, though.
So they got a younger Dez.
Yeah. And, but here's the thing, is Amari Cooper has upside, number one. But what I like for him is the fact that he opens up that offense. The wide receiver core is not bad. We've seen Cole Beasley step up. Allen Hurns stepped up last night. We saw Michael Gallup step up. They're just Allen Hurns and Michael Gallup are not consistent, and Cole Beasley is the only consistent one.
I don't think you're wrong to say that this helps the Cowboys move that offense. I just don't know how going back to the fantasy side of this, I don't know.
So Nick and I were talking about this. If you own Amari Cooper, keep him. He cannot get worse.
No.
And he can only get better. If you want to sell him and you are opposed to keeping Amari Cooper, wait till he has a really big game because he will have one.
Yeah, I mean, Cole Beasley had one. So, I mean, let's just hope it's the right after this bye week so that, people think, okay, this is something we can rely on. They're excited about this new offensive weapon. Right now, though, if you had Amari Cooper in Dynasty, would you sell him for a first-round rookie?
No, because of the same thing you just said.
Wow, it's almost like last week when I told you all to, buy Amari Cooper for a first. It's almost like when y'all were like, no. Yep.
I wouldn't pay a first for him. I don't. It's one of those things that I don't want to go out and get him, but if I have him, I'm not getting rid of him. I'm not really.
Yeah, I'm not.
This sounds so familiar from last week.
I'm not seeing Amari Cooper, and his stock for me personally goes up because I know that here's
a Cowboy. I know.
No, and here's the other thing. Have we ever seen Amari Cooper as the sole one? No, we haven't. We have always seen him
Crabtree
with someone else.
Or Nelson.
And
wait, you're telling me that Cole Beasley's not going to? I'm sorry, I can't even get through this. I can't say it.
He had a great game last night and the week before. I mean, it's
you're in my version of great is much different.
What do you
for someone who's a flex, if not.
Yeah, I mean,
lower
somebody
on your
who went
team,
undrafted or is probably on the waiver wire at all, and he got what? How many yards did he get? I mean,
last
yards. Week, what did he do?
He got yards.
He got them yards.
But yeah, finish up, guys.
No.
I mean, I just think as far as the Amari Cooper news, I mean, don't know how I feel about it. If you have him, keep him. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to go out and get him unless somebody's just like, oh, this is horrible for Amari Cooper. He's going to the Ezekiel Elliott show. I don't trust in Dak. I'm willing to give him for anything at this point. Then I'll buy him. But until then, no. And another thing, just in case people don't get on and read fantasy news or football news, one of the big reasons why they gave a first-round pick, it's not because – I mean, they've been talking about this trade for a week apparently. Stephen Jones called them. The reason that they didn't just give a second, the Eagles offered them a second right before the Cowboys submitted an offer. So the Cowboys knew that they had to submit a first. And, yeah, I mean, could you imagine being in the NFC East and facing Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, and Amari Cooper?
I don't think it's awful. I really don't. I don't
think
it's like the best trade in the world, but I don't think it's awful. Let's move on. I know we've been.
So Marshawn Lynch is on IR.
Yeah, I mean, drop him.
In redraft, do you drop him in Dynasty?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean
he's kind of done after this. I mean, he only had a 2-year contract.
He signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
He's probably not coming back.
You think John Gruden is going to re-sign this guy? He is
Dude,
old.
John Gruden.
He is old.
If he's
John
old,
Gruden's
he's
into the old guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is into older men. when he goes onto Tinder, he 60 plus. That's what he's looking
he might
for.
get Crabtree back when he gets older. Like, ooh.
Oh yeah, Crabtree's not
over
old
32.
enough.
Nice. Hey, Larry, you want to play another year? I got you.
They're multiplying.
So I mean, this we'll hit on this in the waiver wire
dudes.
pickups. Jalen, Richard, and
are
Doug
we not
Martin.
going to talk about how Carlos Hyde went to Jacksonville? That's not even on our. What are we doing?
Yeah, I was looking through the weekend news, not the week news.
Carlos Hyde going to Jacksonville. Here's the thing: we find out what next week. If Leonard Fournette comes back, well, I guess it's week 9. If Leonard Fournette comes back week 9, the whole world's looking at Jacksonville going, "What did you do?"
Yeah, I don't know.
If he does not come back, great. Carlos Hyde's the guy going forward.
I will say they paid like a 5th round rookie pick for him, so I mean it's not like they exactly shipped the farm here for him.
No, but I mean look at the money though. They have his deal now, and Carlos Hyde wasn't getting paid peanuts.
I mean, T.J. Yeldon was not doing terrible.
No, but T.J. Yeldon is not a power runner,
No, he's not.
and that's what they want to get back to.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make. As soon as I saw this trade, I thought, okay, Fournette's going on IR. I mean, that's what's happening. And then not only that, but I'll just say this too. You could play Yeldon last week because they said they came out and said, hey, Hyde's not playing. He needs to learn how we do things, blah blah blah, etc. I think if Hyde comes back this next week, it's going to muddy up the whole backfield, and I want nothing to do with it. It's going to turn into Yeldon, Hyde, two-headed monster. I will start none of them with confidence, and I will start none of them in general.
And here's the thing. If you have somebody wanting to sell Hyde really cheap and you're a Leonard Fournette owner, buy him. I mean, Carlos Hyde will emerge as the best runner.
Oh, he may get dropped. I'm not saying that he will, but I'm
like
just saying,
waiver wire?
Yeah.
Going to drop? Sure. I
in
mean,
redraft,
maybe,
I could see where Hyde. I mean, in redraft, it's like, what is he? And I mean, no. Okay, let's say the Hyde owner still has him. They go and play another week. I think it really will be a two-headed monster, and Hyde gets you 6 points. I mean, Fournette's still not on IR. I mean, I can see him get dropped. So I mean, and that's something to consider if you have the bench space. I mean, what does this do? I mean, Nick Chubb. Let's talk about him a little bit. I mean, Nick Chubb comes out and I mean looks decent. I mean, I don't think he set the world on fire, but I mean, are you going out and buying Nick Chubb in Dynasty or redraft? I mean, I think in our league half point PPR he had 14 points. I mean,
Dynasty, I am. He had one really big run.
What Nick Chubb does,
which padded the stats, but I mean, they gave him 17 carries. I mean,
yeah, he had the carries.
They already instilled trust in him. They came out, people got scared, and they said, "Oh, dude, Jonathan was listed as a starter." Yeah, but Nick Chubb really was the starter. I mean, he was the lead back. I'm buying Nick Chubb. I'm not paying a premium for him. I'm not paying Carlos Hyde price when he was there, thinking that Nick Chubb can be Carlos Hyde, because I think at this point it's going to take a little bit. Because you have to think. You can start him, but how much confidence do you have when it's contingent on whether or not he gets that big run?
18 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. 2 targets.
So, yeah.
0 receptions.
Buy Nick Chubb. Don't overpay for Carlos Hyde.
Okay, rest of the season, do you want Nick Chubb or Tariq Cohen?
Tariq Cohen.
Nick Chubb.
Ooh. Okay. It's just something to think about. I mean, just something to talk about. I mean, I think, I don't know. I think I lean more on the Tariq Cohen side. We'll talk about that later. But, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, Nick Chubb or Marlon Mack.
Oof.
I mean, big game from Mack.
Chubb. Just because I don't know if Marlon Mack's going to, 1, stay healthy, and 2, going to do it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I could sell Nick Chubb and get Marlon Mack in a little extra, I'd go Marlon
baby,
Mack.
we ain't got no extras. Just straight across, baby. I'm going to go Chubb, and here's the reason why. I worry, too, that with Marlon Mack, was it just game script? I think that Hines still got the catches, a few of the catches. Hines seemed to be the in-between the tackles, which is fantastic when you're paying Buffalo and you're up by $1 million. So, yes, Marlon Mack got the rock 1 million times because they were up. I mean, what I worry about is when the Indy gets down, which can happen, right? Let's be honest. What role does Marlon Mack play? And I think he still plays a role, but I don't think...
He caught quite a few balls, didn't he?
These nuts.
What?
Okay.
I mean, he had 7 targets, 4 receptions.
How many yards?
39 yards on receptions. But, I mean, no, that's for this whole season. My
Marlon
apologies.
Mack. I have his stuff up.
So for the whole season, he has had 7 targets. Last game, Nick, what did he have?
Marlon Mack was on for 56% of the snaps with 19 rushes for 126 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 33 yards.
Yeah, 2 receptions. I mean, he just – I love Marlon Mack, but I also can see where there's moments where he gets game scripted out. And I think Chubb could get game scripted out as well.
He had 6 yards per carry. That's
6.6, yeah.
That's unsustainable for Marlon Mack.
You're not sustainable.
I mean, you say that, but the game before that against the Jets,
Like
it was
bad water source.
7.4. Oh my gosh.
You're a bad water source, Nick.
What?
Okay.
It's close.
All right. Le'Veon Bell may or may not be playing again. Oh my gosh.
I know. I was in negotiations with somebody about Le'Veon Bell, and I was like, and this is before the news came out. This is like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Was it that Julio trade?
Yeah. And so he was trying to get Julio from me, and I respect it. I mean, it really wasn't a bad trade, and we were right on the thing. But I told him I wanted, like, Julio and another piece, a small piece, for Bell and Lindsay. Because I was like, I don't know what Bell's doing, and I'm doing this for a running back. And I'm like, and I really like Lindsay. I just do. I think that I know Jonathan respectfully disagrees, but he's one of the best running backs for the Broncos. I mean, he really is. And so I was trying to get that trade done. And he was just like, well, you know, you're buying low on Bell. I know you are. He's like, he's going to come back. And then just more and more of this news starts pouring in. I'm like, do I know that? Like, he is so scary. And I want to talk about, and what I'm talking about this trade in Dynasty. In redraft, I don't even go after him. I don't care to deal with that hot mess. I saw a tweet that was like, do you want Bell or Fournette in redraft?
In redraft?
It's like, I don't know.
Fournette. I mean, he has better hope of coming back.
Just imagine though if Bell,
I don't know.
What if Bell went to someone like Oakland? Would you like?
He's not old enough.
All right, moving on.
You have to show an AARP card before you can even get in the locker room.
So Kenny
That's what I
Stills
hear.
and Albert
That's how they
Wilson.
scan to get into their locker room. Is there
Kenny Stills and Albert Wilson will probably be out this week because it's a Thursday night game.
Dude, did you see the shade Adam Gase threw on Devonta Parker?
Oh gosh, he basically
Was like, well, we don't have any players, so
Devontae Parker may be good, because he's our only wide receiver left.
No, he said, I sent you all that text.
why don't you? Yeah, he basically said, they asked, hey, will whoever Dolphins coach Adam Gase on Devontae Parker, we don't have any more receivers, so I'm pretty sure he's going to play. And then they said, play well. Yeah, I've seen him do it before. That was all I could think of was like, if you've never watched the original like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, rewatch it now as an adult because Gene Wilder is the most sarcastic a-hole in that entire thing. Like the kid's literally dying, and Gene Wilder, stop. Don't.
That sucks.
Please don't. Oh, no. Like, that's literally him the whole entire time. Girl's turning into a freaking blueberry, and he's just like,
uh-oh,
wish
sucks.
someone could have foreseen these events. Oh, no.
I told her not to. I told her.
That's the fudge room. That's the way I felt like Adam Gase, especially after that whole, like, agent. And for those of you underneath the rock, Devontae Parker's agent was like attacking the Dolphins and saying that like Parker's not playing and Gase hates him. And I felt like you ever play like youth league basketball? There's like that mom is like, why isn't my baby getting more playing time? He deserves. They so good. He's so good. And the coach is just like, ma'am, I'm playing the best team I
In
see.
defense of Devontae Parker, though, I mean, apparently he's been healthy. I mean, but Adam Gase for some reason has not played him.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like a mama.
But he's been healthy.
He's healthy. He shows up to every practice.
So, who do you want to play any wide receiver for the Dolphins?
Nope. I mean,
Who do they play this week?
Doesn't matter.
A team.
I mean, I hate it because I liked Albert Wilson and he just crumbled in front of us as soon as we started promoting him. He was like, sorry, and it looks like it's going to be a season injury. Like the coach said it's a very strong chance. It's a season-long or a season-ending injury. Okay, listen.
I don't think I'm going to play anyone against the Texans on
No,
offense.
no, and I mean, okay, keep your eye on Parker, but I want to see him do it first. I'm not about to pick up a dude on the little bit of smokes of the hype train that has been Devonta Parker. I mean, this hype train has been going so long that now it's just to a standstill.
I do think you should go out and pick up Jakeem Grant. I mean, he's just available. He's a second wide receiver on the team right now.
He may be the wide receiver to own. That's a good point. And in dynasty leagues too. I mean, he might be on the waivers.
If Adam Gase if he doesn't want to play Devontae Parker in the first place, if he does put him out there, he calls the plays. I mean,
we forgot for a second. Yeah. All right.
By the way, just to interject a random comment, who do you think is the leading rusher for the Chicago Bears?
Is it
Trubisky?
No, it might be.
It's Mitchell Trubisky.
Is it really?
Yep. 245 yards. He averages 7.9
That's
yards
all?
per carry
Jordan Howard
and
sucks.
2 touchdowns.
He
Well,
does.
Jordan Howard has 311 yards, but he also has.
So he's not the.
But he
leading
also has
rusher.
59 more carries.
So you said that's not what
So
you
he's
said.
not the leading rusher.
I'm counting it.
What?
So
I'm
he's
counting
not.
it.
You can just add numbers.
I'm glad you like to make up your
Mitch
own stats,
Trubisky could
Jonathan.
fall forward 59 times and beat Jordan Howard.
I mean, so could I right now. I mean,
Sure.
So
so I'm the leading rusher of the Chicago Bears now.
you could be.
And where you get as a
could
math
be.
teacher the mere nostalgia
You know who
of
the
just
leading
ignoring
receiver
numbers.
is?
Is it Taylor Gabriel?
Tariq
Mitch
Cohen.
Trubisky. No, I'm just kidding.
He throws it to himself.
Taylor Gabriel.
He catches. He throws. He runs.
He protects.
scores.
He attack.
Sony is week to week. Sorry, Michelle. That is not Sony
PlayStation?
the PlayStation.
Mr. Game & Watch?
So James White just like gets even better.
Yes.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Gronk's gonna be back this week.
Hey, would you trade James White for David Johnson right now in redraft?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would.
In redraft?
I don't even play Patriots running backs and I do that.
In redraft? No, I don't know if I would.
Really? But James White's killing it. He hadn't had a game less than 10 points. I
No,
don't
I'm
think.
saying, would you trade James White for David Johnson?
Oh no,
Oh,
I'd rather
no.
have James White.
I want James White.
Yeah, I was like, I want James White. That's why I was like, all right, y'all can get David Johnson. Have fun with him.
So moving on, we got Kiki, hamstring injury, not considered serious. Maybe week to week. It's like I may or may not play.
Yeah, just watch it. And honestly, I don't know how quick I was to jam him anyway.
Kiki, do
Kiki,
you love me?
Do you love me?
Are
That's
you
all I got.
playing?
Adam
Is it your
Vinatieri,
hamstring?
the man, the myth, the legend, is dealing with a groin injury. That's not.
I would too if I kicked 1,000,000 field goals.
I know, right? He's like 40 something.
Oh, John Gruden. That's on the top of his list.
Dude, he already had
Sit-
Seabass.
Sitting there, just big circle. He brings it to coaching staff every day. Why haven't we got him? Well, I don't think
He's looking for Adam Vinatieri. He wants
He
Frank
needs
Gore.
Drew Brees.
He wants Adrian Peterson. He wants both of them.
Oh,
He wants
100%.
Larry Fitzgerald,
He
Jerry
actually,
Rice.
Antonio Gates. Big circle.
I was told
star
he
next
called,
to his name.
He called Peyton
Experience.
Manning and said, "I want to bring you out of retirement."
Peyton, quit doing those freaking Allstate commercials, bro, and throw the dang football.
I heard he called John Elway, and John was like, "You do realize that I own the Broncos?"
He was like both.
"Mother," and marked it out.
Pick up the phone. Crap.
And then he was like, "Well, John, just come over. I'll trade you. How about that? I'll trade you back to the Broncos. I'll trade you owners."
Can we trade general managers
Oh
and
man.
then trade them back?
Just in, John Gruden traded his whole team for picks. That's all it says. Just
It looks like John Gruden has traded his team
Hey,
to the
you
Canadian
laugh.
Football League.
You know, I think John Gruden got out of football for a while and then got into Dynasty. And he just looked at the team and was like, we just got to rebuild. We got to rebuild. Send them all for first rounders. I know how this works. I've played Dynasty fantasy football. Hey, one of my leagues, god-awful league. By the way, almost won this week. Let me tell you with who I almost won with. Hold on. I know this is our podcast. You're like, why are you telling me this? I have 5 first-rounders and 5 second-round picks. If this tells you how bad this team is. This is my team almost won. Cam Newton, Carlos Hyde. That's right, I played him. I didn't have any other running backs. Nick Chubb, Christian Kirk, Keelan Cole, Antonio Callaway, Azoma, or whatever his name is, tight end for the Cincinnati Bengals, Dante Moncrief, Cameron Meredith, and Carson Wentz. About won. About got there. And you're like, Tyler, surely there's better players on your bench. There is not. There is not. This team is a complete rebuild.
You're rebuilding.
Oh. I lied. Alan Hearns was on the bench. I could have played him.
Could have played Alan Hearns.
Not
going to.
Nope.
Not going to. So we're going to move into our waivers. Before we do so, give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Sport Bracketeers, daily fantasy sports company that makes unique style bracket format fantasy. Basically, you have stats and you guess the stats for that weekend. So, How many yards is Albert Wilson going to get this week?
None.
0. Yeah, your answer would be 0.
Is it
But
gonna
those are
be
the
on
type
here?
of questions you'll ask.
Well, we actually have one this week. For week 8, how many combined rushing and receiving yards will Saquon Barkley have in the entire game?
Week 8
Week 8.
next week.
Yes, sir.
Let's see who they're playing.
Chuck's on you. He's on a bye week. I'm just kidding.
0.
I win. I win. So, as of this recording,
Redskins. Playing the Redskins.
they're playing the Redskins. As of this recording, they have also not played tonight against the Falcons. So, if Saquon gets hurt, it's a pretty simple question.
I'm going to
Hopefully, it is
say
not.
152.
Ooh, strong. Jonathan?
Against the Redskins.
Rushing and receiving.
Yeah, right. I got it. I know instructions.
Rushing and receiving.
I can hear. Yeah, that's good.
Jonathan, as a Cowboys fan, well, Zeke can't get it done.
That's true. I mean, that's. Like,
Zeke
that's like
is
factor
everything.
A. I'm gonna say 80 yards rushing and receiving.
Oh, I'll be middleman here. I'll say 128.
Okay.
What was our sports bracketeering question last week? Do we remember?
Allen Robinson, Julian Edelman combined yards. I don't know who won. I'd have to sit down and
Do the calculation.
math.
Well,
We'll do the calculation.
Let me
on
tell you a
that.
common thing with Jonathan being a Cowboys fan. Before the podcast, oh, Zeke, number 1 running back. Jonathan's number 7. No, he's not. Okay.
Cool thing, bro.
No, I mean, if he's not number 1, he's number 2. Actually, no, he's not. He's still he's still
number
lower.
2 in leading rushing yards.
That's great. He is number 8 in fantasy points.
Yeah, but what do we really care?
Right behind James Conner, James White, Kareem Hunt, and Saquon Barkley.
What do we really care about? Rushing yards.
What do we want? Rushing yards. When do we want them? 1 carry at a time.
Okay, so get this.
No.
40 combined yards.
What?
Allen Robinson had 1 reception for 4 yards.
Killing it.
Julian Edelman had 5 receptions for 36 yards.
So I win. I picked the lowest.
Yeah, I picked the highest. I can't believe he was targeted 5 times, caught 1 ball.
Yeah, that was not good.
Mitch Trubisky. Hot garbage.
He's no bueno.
Anyway, waiver wire pickups.
Whoa! I will not. I have Mitch Trubisky be
Waiver
talked
wire
about.
pickups.
Who? No, I'm talking about Allen Robinson.
Oh, that's fine. Mitch Trubisky will not be talked about as hot garbage.
Jalen Richard is definitely the person I would want on the backfield of the Raiders.
Why not Doug Martin?
I've seen him play.
He's going to be the leading back, though.
Nope.
Coming out.
Nope.
Have you been a Buccaneers fan ever?
I'm not touching.
I know the horror of Doug Martin.
I'm not touching the gerbil or hamster or whatever
the
he is.
It's the Duggernaut.
I'm
He
not.
prefers
no.
the Duggernaut.
He's the
Muscle hamster is what
He is
other one was.
the lame. He is not the Juggernaut. That is for sure.
Not anymore.
No.
He had 1 good game that one time. Not this year, not last year, but the year before that.
Year before that, there was
That
one
one
game
game.
that was.
He
yeah,
actually almost beat the single game rushing record, like 230 or 60 yards. It was insane. I'm gonna take Jalen over Doug. My personal preference.
yeah. I'll go Jalen too.
Jonathan looks like he's thinking. But
No, I disagree.
okay. Chris Ivory with we have LaShawn McCoy out. So obviously, if you need a running back, Chris Ivory's there. Will he do anything for you? Is a good question.
I mean, Chris Ivory, I think, has always been one of those players that's like, hey, he's not a good running back, but he is a fantastic backup. And, I mean, I think that's why the Buffalo Bills got him. I mean, they know LaShawn McCoy kind of goes down all the time. I'm not dropping LaShawn McCoy in Dynasty or redraft. I mean, he heals magically. So last week against against Indiana, despite being down and everything, I mean, this is Indiana, 16 attempts, 81 carries, 5.1 yards per carry, 3 receptions, no touchdowns, 13.6 points. I mean, that's a flex start. Week 2 and 3 when LaShawn McCoy wasn't there either, 10.7, And then week 3 against Minnesota, 15.6. I mean, this is what he's good for. He's good from 10 to 15 points. I mean, that's what he does.
Yeah.
And you know, in this landscape where you have, you know, Freeman on IR, you've got Dalvin Cook, question mark. You got Leonard Fournette, question mark. Yeah, I mean, fire him up. I mean, if you can find him on the waiver wire,
I'm probably gonna have to find him on my waiver wire.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exciting. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like, yay, Chris Ivory. But it's like, we're here now.
Yeah.
Just play him.
Another running back to look at, possibly only for this week, but Kenjon Barner, the Patriots maybe now starter, other than James White. You know, they like to run a committee. If Sony Michel is out, we have Kenjon Barner, who had 10 rushes yesterday for 36 yards. Not great. But again,
he was getting the snaps.
He's getting the snaps.
Keep an eye on him. That's something to talk about.
Yeah, it's basically, you know, if you need a flyer this week.
So, I mean, out of those running backs, if you're playing in redraft, who's your top priority?
Jalen.
Okay.
I mean, he's long term. I mean, Chris Ivory, yeah, he'll be okay. But we also have the possibility of Sean McCoy coming back. How is Marshawn Lynch out for the year?
I'm not breaking the bank for any of these guys. I mean, I don't feel like Jalen's the only one that, like you said,
20%, maybe.
Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah, no.
20's
the most I would spend, like if I needed this.
Yeah, and then the rest. So, I mean, nothing really hot, to be honest. I mean. Obviously, if for some reason Marlon Mack is not picked up from last week's performance, somehow I would break the bank getting him, but that's about it.
Break it.
And by the way, guys, listen, if you ever have any questions, okay, 2 things. First off, you can contact us on our website, thefffranchise.com. We have, you scroll all the way down, you can see all of our articles and all of our videos and all of our stuff. And merchandise and all this great stuff. But at the very bottom, you can contact us. We get a direct email. We can reply to it, or we can maybe talk about it on the show. And then, of course, the easiest way, too, is Twitter at F3Pod. So if you have questions about pickups, starts, sit questions, and we also do the Sunday morning Periscope with all 3 of us, except for me, because apparently I have no internet or I have random things going on. I'll be there this week, though.
Okay.
Nick gets to wear a tank top and blind us with his very, very white shoulders.
Yeah, someone was like, put a shirt on. I was like, I'm wearing a shirt. Can you see my chest hairs? No.
See, I commented too, and I said, don't wear the shirt. And I got nervous, and I deleted the tweet. But whatever, dude. That's what I wanted.
Next waiver wire. I don't know if this guy's he's been high the last 2 weeks now. Tyrell Williams. You might have thought 1 week he was just, you know, that was a good week. He's had exactly 118 yards 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
Exactly. But that being said, it's only been on 3 and 4 receptions. So
yeah,
it's like a boomer bust candidate for this guy. He's
a
flex play, 10% at most.
Yeah, he's a buck or 2 for me. That's where I'm at. I mean, I don't know if I would feel comfortable playing him unless I'm in a deep league. Or just out of options.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Beasley, I think, also makes this list a little bit. Jonathan said he mentioned he had a pretty good game, but I worry about with the bye coming up. You also have, Amari Cooper coming into town. I'm not excited. I'm not unless I just have the bench spot.
He's a streamer. I mean, that's what Cole Beasley's going to be.
Yeah.
And the problem is, can you rely on him?
No. And then we talked about Jakeem Grant. Jonathan mentioned him. I think he's worth a mention. And then Chris Godwin. I mean, if he's still there, I mean, Chris Godwin, too. I mean, I think you got to start buying in at some point. But those are all our guys. Honestly, I want to be honest. The waiver wire is not hot. I mean, it was pretty much Nick Chubb. If for some reason your waivers are weird and they don't run until, like, they don't even run before Sunday, then I guess, Nick Chubb, Marlon Mack would be the biggest hottestness if those are still there. But I doubt it. So. Let's move on. We got a lot more to cover and not a whole lot of sexy waiver wire pickups.
Yeah, before we move on, give a shout out to one of our other sponsors, Hall of Breaks. It's a place to get the newest memorabilia available, from recent signings and hot rookies to new products with classic players. First round picks to Hall of Fame standouts, the best products around are in the Hall. Daily chances to win prizes with a new series every week. Products from full-size replica and authentic helmets to minis in Blaze, Ice, Speed, and other popular styles. There is some risk involved in this game of chance, so be sure to read all the rules of the page or contact the page admin with any questions. Hall of Breaks is more than just a prize page. It's a community of dedicated collectors and lovers of the game.
Yeah, and, guys, we thank you all so much for supporting us and supporting Hall of Breaks. You really do need to check them out. It is a fantastic website, fantastic page. They give so much awesome stuff. We're giving away that Devontae Adams Ice Mini helmet, and you definitely need to check that out. Well, it'll be in the description below. And then also, just check out all their other stuff. I mean, they have just fantastic memorabilia. And if you want to, go ahead and YouTube. Go on YouTube, check us out. We have our whole office right here is just decorated with jerseys and helmets and all kinds of great stuff that is all brought to you by Hall of Breaks. If you can just get a taste, just a little nibble of what they give it.
Get a little snack on it. Just a little snack.
That's gross.
The main event.
Real quickly, studs and duds. I'll start.
Okay.
I'm not ashamed. My stud is going to be Marlon Mack.
Whoa, there's no drop for him?
Nope.
I thought there was a drop. Do we have a drop? Is it no Shane Bell?
We
There's a Shane Bell, but
we
don't
have
we have
the...
What does the scouter say about
Yes.
his power level?
What?
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
Marlon Mack's power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. If you look, he had a 56% snap ratio, which is not great. If you look at running backs last week, that ranges in the 19s, like the 16 and 19 area of, the running back with the most snaps. Most snap percentage. So what he did with the snap ratio was fantastic. I mean, 19 rushes for 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those was rushing, one of those was receiving, and 2 receptions for 33 yards. He did awesome. Will he be this good again? I don't know, but if his snap percentage increases, which with a game like this, I think it should.
I just will say, I said, and I want to get done. It's just
15 points game.
I just worry about him getting game scripted out. Now, in saying that, though, I still want him.
I don't know why you would game script this boy out.
Because you're Andrew Luck and you've had the most throw attempts this entire year, and because your defense sucks.
Because you don't have Marlon Mack.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
Well, I mean, part of the reason is you can't slow down the game if you can't run it. And so they can't run it, so they have to pass all the time.
Well, you can't slow down the game when you're down by 3 touchdowns.
What if you were already ahead by 3 touchdowns?
The 1 week you get to play the Bills? Got it.
I mean, you're still going to run the ball.
I mean, I'm just saying that you can't expect this out of him every week.
No, you can't. But I mean, if he's averaging anywhere from 4 to 6 yards per carry, and he's getting 15 carries a game, I mean, and he's that good in goal line situations. I mean,
I don't know. I think back to week 5 when they played the Patriots and were down the entire time. You running the ball?
yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I just feel like Naheem Hines starts chipping into that a lot more. And let me tell you, I think my main theme is that I'm okay with trading Marlon Mack for something more secure, like using these points, using the possible future of Marlon Mack, because I think he has a future. I'm not saying that he doesn't. But I'm just saying, I think there's more secure options out there. Like, if I could, and this is hot, I doubt somebody would do that, but if I could take Marlon Mack and trade him for, a Tariq Cohen or Todd Gurley. If I could trade him for a Kerryon Johnson. I mean, I don't know if someone would actually do that, but that is more beneficial to me, I think. Or even like a Joe Mixon, who didn't do so hot.
Do you say Tariq Cohen, so you would trade Marlon Mack for Tariq Cohen?
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but I mean, Tariq Cohen is doing a lot more than we realize.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, what's your stud?
My stud is Adam Thielen, and I mean, I know that you're like, well, duh, but I mean,
Todd Gurley.
Shut up. But I mean, here's the thing though, with I think that this is the first wide receiver to be right there with like Antonio Brown. With the amount of targets he is seeing, it is insane. Okay, let's just play a fun game. How many targets has Adam Thielen had so far?
4,000. Well, we're on week 7.
Week 7.
I'm going to say 70.
Okay.
5.
83.
Okay. 75. The closest one to 75 is Stephon Diggs with 74. Antonio Brown's at 72. 80. Closest one to there is Jarvis Landry at 82. 82 for Jarvis Landry. Adam Thielen has 91 targets. 91. With a catch percentage of 73%. 67 catches. On just the targets alone, he has 67 points in PPR formats. So, I mean, here's the thing. 822 yards. So the guy's not only leading the league in targets, he's also leading the league in yards right now. So, I mean, let's just start.
Well, Todd Gurley, watch out.
I mean, as far as wide receivers go. But let's start playing a fun game. Who would you rather have? Adam Thielen or DeAndre Hopkins?
In redraft?
Yeah, sure. Tell me if it changes in Dynasty.
I guess in redraft, Adam Thielen.
Okay. Adam Thielen or Michael Thomas?
Adam Thielen.
Okay.
I mean, do we...
I mean, there's no one that...
Yeah, he's the
there's
best
no one I
wide
would
receiver
rather
in the league right now.
Antonio Brown or Adam Thielen?
I mean, there's no one I would rather have in redraft.
So if you had Antonio Brown on your team, we'd send Antonio Brown for Adam Thielen.
Absolutely.
So here's my question.
Would you not?
Where do you place Adam Thielen in
so.
Dynasty?
Yeah, I mean, he's what, 27?
That's not old.
Yeah, I mean, he's 28 years old. He just turned 28. That's why I said he's 27.
I mean, until something changes, until something proves me otherwise, he's easily top 5 in Dynasty for me.
Tyreek Hill or Adam Thielen?
Adam Thielen. It doesn't
In Dynasty?
It never changes. Because
Even in Dynasty?
because I'm looking
the
at
age?
you know me. Listen to offseason. I look at a 3 to 4 year window. If nothing changes with the Vikings, if coach doesn't change, quarterback doesn't change, team comp does not
24.
change.
He'll be 25 this year, Tyreek Hill.
Adam Thielen. I mean, you
Or Harrison.
cannot beat the target share. You cannot beat the catch percentage. I mean, you just can't. He's more consistent. I mean, when a guy gets 14 catches in a game, how do you beat that? You can't. He's the number 1 receiver this year so far. He'll finish as the number 1 receiver, barring no injuries.
Yeah, the only person that has over 50 targets that has a higher catch percentage than him is Emmanuel Sanders. That's the only person. So he leads the league in targets. He leads the league in, yards. He's second in catch percentage, right? But for over 50
At this
balls.
point, and I'll say it because, and it's not hot, and you really can't prove it otherwise. But besides Todd Gurley, I mean, there is really no one at this point that I'm taking 1-for-1 for Adam Thielen in a redraft.
So back to my question. Where would you place him in Dynasty in wide receiver?
Top 5.
Okay.
And I think anyone who says less than top 5 is looking at too long of a window. 3 to 4 years out. Go with Kirk Cousins' deal of how long he's going to be with the Vikings. Mm-hmm. And you saw him, what he did with Case Keenum and Sam Bradford. Yeah. He's shown that he can do it with backup wide receivers and still become a wide receiver 1.
Quarterback.
Yeah, whatever.
But
remember when we were talking in offseason and there was
It's a 3-year deal for Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins never has produced a wide receiver 1. He not only produced a wide receiver 1, but the wide receiver 1.
That's fine. Yeah, it's a 3-year deal for Kirk Cousins.
3 years.
So we got to move on. What's your stud, John?
My stud is Dak Prescott.
All right, moving on.
The reason why I chose Dak Prescott is because we talked about it last week. He proved it against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Even though they lost last night, he proved it against Washington. He's proved it against the number 2 defense, and he's proved it against the number 4 defense. I mean, he doesn't really need to prove himself anymore. I mean, to me, he's a startable asset I mean, he's
Question: Dak Prescott or Mitch Trubisky? Redraft or dynasty? I don't care. You choose.
that's tough. Honestly, in fantasy, I'm gonna go Mitch Trubisky because he's passing more. He had 50 attempts last week.
Yeah, he's throwing a lot.
I mean,
It's one of I think Dak is better, but I think that Mitch Trubisky's in a situation where he's given the opportunity
here's
to
the
perform
thing.
better.
Here's the thing. Dak Prescott and Mitch Trubisky both started at the same time. The past 2 games they both played. They both started lighting it on fire. But Mitch Trubisky has outperformed points-wise, so I have to go with Mitch Trubisky. But Dak has proved it against the top 2 defenses.
So right now, I was just looking. 206 attempts for Dak Prescott, 128 completions, and you're like, that's not bad. Mitch Trubisky, 211 attempts, 139 catches. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that also includes Mitch Trubisky's bye. So
Yeah, he's throwing a lot.
I know but that's what I'm saying. If you're looking at the stat line, it's a little deceptive because you got to add in an extra game or take away Dak's game. I mean, whatever you want to do.
I mean, he's played 7 games so far, and
Mitch has played 6.
6 games
Dak
so
has played
far,
7.
and he's had 1/5 of his targets come from one game. I mean, or more than 1/5 of his, more than 1/5 of his targets come from one game. He had 50 throws last game. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Well,
no.
when you're playing the Patriots, and you're down, you got. I mean, 50 attempts last week.
And the thing is they're both running the ball. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's not that the legs are carrying me over for.
Trubisky's the best runner on the Bears, according to Jonathan.
81 yards. Yeah, according to Jonathan's made-up math.
I'll tell you again next week. That's true.
So I'll go Mitch too, and it's not because I'm a Bears fan. The last 3 weeks, by rules of beer pong, he is on fire. I mean, he is 31 points, 27 points, and 43 points.
Yeah.
Mitch is going, how long do I have to do it? And that's against Tampa Bay. And you're like, okay, it's Tampa Bay. Miami does not have a bad defense. And the New England Patriots, which also they don't have a great defense, but they don't have a bad defense, I don't think. They're middle of the road.
It's kind of bad.
So now, last week you said that you wouldn't start Dak Prescott. Would you start him now?
He is a startable asset, yes.
Granted, I mean, he's on bye week next week, so don't
Yeah,
start him.
so I would probably not start him on a bye week.
You can.
I mean,
Okay,
it's strong.
we got to move on to the duds. Yes, we do, Jonathan.
And just quick.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I'll start with my dud. We'll go snake order. My dud was Stephon Diggs, and I brought him up because not that I think he's truthfully a dud, but I brought him up because I thought it paired nicely with Tyler's Adam Thielen. Diggs had, I think it was 8 catches for 33 yards. 8 receptions for 33 yards.
Yeah, but
this week.
But this is the reason why I want to buy Stephon Diggs right now because everybody's so high on Adam Thielen. They're sitting there, they're crying because Stephon Diggs didn't do. Stephon Diggs got 14 targets last week.
And that's like, is he still being targeted? But here's the thing: defenses are still we're still looking at Stephon Diggs as the guy to cover. To put this in perspective, playing the Saints, Marshawn Lattimore would be on the X receiver, which is Diggs.
No, yeah.
And so here's the but defenses are going to now start scheming for Adam Thielen. So Stephon Diggs is getting targets. It's not that he's being scripted out. It's not that he's not being targeted. He's going to get targets and he's going to make plays. I'm buying Stephon Diggs from non-believers.
Yep. And you need to do it now because last game 10.6, game for that 7.2. Arizona, he just got game scripted out. I mean, they just didn't need him. I mean, 5 targets.
I don't know why, but I do.
But New York Jets, 14 targets. I want to follow the targets. So
Yeah. All right,
you're dud.
My dud. I'm gonna be real quick. Bortles, you suck. I needed 10 freaking points. 10 points from Bortles.
Speaking
That's
of,
all I needed.
I need 30 points of OBJ and Saquon Barkley to beat Nick
I told
Jonathan.
John you have no problem with that.
We'll see.
So
I know my luck.
Here's the thing with the Jaguars. So, like at noon, they said the coach for Jacksonville said, mum's the word. He's not saying who the starter was. He comes out 3 hours later. SpongeBob, 3 hours later. And says Blake Bortles is the quarterback to start this next week because he feels like it gives them the best chance to win. Okay, that's false. Otherwise, you would not have benched him.
Oh, that's okay. Listen, guys, on week 15 and 16, Blake Bortles is going to win everyone championships because this is what Blake Bortles does. He sucks in the middle. Everybody talks about how
Guys, I'm tired. Where's my bye
Blake
week?
Bortles, yeah, he stinks. He's a terrible quarterback. They're looking for a trade. They're looking to trade. They want to trade Blake Bortles and get a new guy like Derek Carr. And then all of a sudden they start going to the playoffs and Blake Bortles is like, what's that? You need 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions? Welcome to Jacksonville. And he just puts on his big boy pants and just wins championships. So if you have Blake Bortles in Dynasty, don't play him right now. But come around 14, 15, or 16, gear him up because he's ready. He's kind of like James White used to only come out during the playoffs. Blake Bortles only comes out in the beginning of the year, and we go, why were we so low on Blake Bortles? Then he sucks in the middle, and then he comes at the end like, I am the god of football, Blake Bortles.
So he's a crap sandwich.
He is a
You got the good stuff on the outside with the crap in the middle.
Yes.
Like, Tyler,
It's
who's
a
your,
lot of crap.
Who's your dud?
A lot of crap.
Oh,
It's a Smucker's level of crap. Like
Oh,
you get
yes.
those Uncrustables, and there's like a little thin layer of bread.
It's like me with just Hershey spread. That's a lot of Hershey spread in between that, but there it is, and that's how I like it.
Hey, Tyler, who's your dud?
My dud is Tyler Boyd. My only going to be thing that we need to talk about because we got to go into our next segment is don't fret. I think this is a bad game from Andy Dalton. Fun little fact, and I think they're like 0-8 underneath their coach Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones.
Or not Marvin Jones, whatever his name is.
Pretty sure he's a wide receiver.
Shut up. The Cincinnati's coach Jones. They're 0-8 on Sunday night. They don't show up. Is
It's
it
Marvin Jones.
Yeah, as I was saying. I thought it was. So Marvin Jones.
I was having a lot of fun.
They're 0-8. They do not do good against the spotlight on them. Andy Dalton, the whole Cincinnati Bengals
dude.
are like, there's too many people watching us. And then they just fall apart. So don't give up on Tyler Boyd. I would actually go out and buy him.
Oh, yeah.
So
I love Tyler Boyd. And I'm going to talk about it a lot more because I know I'm not supposed to. So Tyler Boyd.
Hold on to that feeling. Okay, that's bad. Sorry, guys.
by the way, my dad got to meet the lead singer for that band, like this weekend.
What band is it, Tyler?
Charity.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you knew.
The
You're
Asian?
like, he met the lead singer of this band. I
I
don't
think
know.
so.
He met the Asian?
I don't know.
Because the actual guy's dead.
Yeah, I know.
And if you met him, that's crazy.
I'm
I
well
want
aware.
whatever
That's a
he's
little
smoking.
insensitive.
Just
Anyways,
saying.
No, he met the lead singer of Boston.
people have
Close.
people have supernatural dreams, you know?
I don't. wanna hear
Okay,
about
so. Oh my gosh, I
that.
can't.
Nate, control us.
I can't do this.
Explain to them what we're doing because
I'll explain
I
it.
don't even understand it.
I will explain it. The don't stop believing. These are people.
Nick, you're going to have to explain it after he explains it.
Oh my gosh, I'm a teacher. This is what I do for a living. Okay, pain specialist. But to specialize in some pain. All right. So, anyways, the don't stop believing. These are people that we have just we can't give up on. We know. Listen, they're not doing so hot. They're not doing, but we believe them. B.
I believe him, yo. I don't know why, but I do.
We just do. They're down and out. You drafted them to be something, and they're just not doing it. And we believe in them. So we're going to hold on to them. We're going to go buy them. We believe. The other people is I believe. I believe that we will win.
I believe you're either gonna stay. You're gonna stay where you are.
You're going to stay where you are. I'm done playing
that's
games.
good or bad.
I'm done playing games. I'm done playing this little footsie of, well, they may be good, or they're a flex play, or if you want. No. You play these guys. They're good people. Go out and buy them. What's wrong with you?
So mine, to give a example, Keenan Allen is ranked 29th in points per game right now in PPR at 14.3. That's not great, and you probably drafted Keenan Allen as your second wide receiver, and right now he's in the back of the third almost, or middle of the third.
You there?
You there?
So let's look at what he did last year.
What you do-
2017,
Ooh,
he
baby.
had a average of 17.8. That would put you right up next to Odell Beckham Jr.
Right next to
at
him.
number 14.
Not,
That's more acceptable.
not 13, not 15, 13.
What are we, these old women in church now?
So I believe
He believe
that
it.
Keenan Allen going to be
it.
getting better.
He believe it.
I want you, Tyrell Williams, to calm down.
And last year wasn't even his best year. His best year was like 20. He had 20.2 points per game. 2015. That's insane. Will he get that high? I don't know, but I can definitely see the 17 points per game
He can
for the rest of the
definitely
year,
see
which
it.
is a high-end wide receiver too.
He can definitely
Jonathan?
see it.
Okay, so let me run by you just some names about, and just to kind of give the feel here of Jonathan. You're distracting me. I have ADHD. You just can't. Keenan Allen, okay, not performing the way you want. Nick telling you, hey, still believe in him. You got to. I want to run by some people that maybe have a smaller name.
Redraft or dynasty?
Keenan Allen.
Redraft.
We'll go redraft, but if it changes in Dynasty, if you want to add that in, go ahead.
You want me to let you know? Got it.
Okay, Brandon Cooks.
Keenan Allen.
Brandon Cooks.
Redraft or Dynasty, does it change? Or
Doesn't
Dynasty.
change for me.
So you want Brandon Cooks in Dynasty over Keenan Allen?
Yep.
Okay. Both redraft and Dynasty. Nick, does it change for you?
Yeah, I'd rather have Cooks in Dynasty.
Okay. Golden Tate or Keenan Allen, just redraft because we already know that.
Keenan Allen.
I'll go Keenan Allen.
Cooper Kupp,
Cooper Kupp.
even in redraft with the hurtness.
I don't think he's going to stay
It's
hurt.
a concussion, right?
Yeah.
It's not a
Right.
concussion, it's his MCL.
Yeah, concussion of the
That's
MCL.
like a 2-week thing, isn't it? 2-3 weeks?
Concussion
be.
of the MCL. Got it.
His
And,
MCL
and
was
you're the
concussed.
medical professional.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sprained, I think. I mean,
Okay.
or bruised.
Yeah, Evan Ingram was out 3 to 4 weeks.
But I still went Keenan Allen. I think
Keenan Allen or Juju Smith?
Juju.
Juju.
Keenan Allen or Tyler Boyd?
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen.
Ooh.
Not even because
All right, Keenan Allen or Robert Woods?
Robert Woods.
Keenan Allen.
Ooh, okay.
Sorry, Robert Woods is the 13th overall in points per game right
Keenan
now.
Yeah, but it's
Allen
Keenan Allen.
or Emmanuel Sanders?
Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders.
What a world we live in.
So yeah, that's my
That's good.
guy I'm believing in. John, who are you
Oh,
believing?
one
in?
last one. Jarvis Landry.
Don't ask me this question.
Jarvis Landry.
Man, that's razor thin. Like it
I
really
feel like it
is.
depends on the week.
And here's the reason why.
Nope.
The Chargers are Melvin Gordon's offense. The Browns, they are Jarvis Landry's offense. The Browns will be playing from behind or tied in the 5th quarter. So,
I will go Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
I know I have not chimed in. Here's the reason why. 82 targets for Jarvis Landry while Keenan Allen sits at 56. I just feel like I have a safer floor with the targets. Now, I will tell you this. Here's a fun stat. Both of them have the same amount of receptions. Jarvis Landry at 41 receptions, Keenan Allen at 41 receptions. Although Jarvis Landry has 82 targets and Keenan Allen has 56.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry has 14.8 points per game, and Keenan Allen is 14.3.
But to Jarvis Landry's extent,
He's had multiple quarterbacks.
multiple quarterbacks and like the extent of these targets, like Phillip Rivers' targets are much different than Tyrod Taylor's, and Baker Mayfield's targets. Like, let's be honest. If you were to like Tyler, you have to catch a pass. Okay, who do I get to catch it from? Well, you get to choose Phillip Rivers or Tyrod Taylor. I'll just go Rivers. Thanks.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see the ball come at me, so that'd be nice.
All right, next one.
All right, so my don't stop believing is going to be David Johnson. I can't give up on him yet. Now listen, I'm not willing to pay David Johnson prices, not what he used to be, but I will tell you that I cannot just throw him to the wind. They did get rid of their defensive coordinator. We talked about that stat that they were the 28th worst in or least amount of runs, but being the first running right up the middle. And I feel like it has to get more dynamic than that. And I think that David Johnson is a dynamic runner. Right now, he is the 11th running back in PPR. So, I mean, he's still a running back one. I know it's not the David Johnson we know and love. He's right next to Tariq Cohen, Isaiah Crowell, TJ Yeldon, Christian McCaffrey. I know. I get it. It's not what you wanted. But at the same time, okay, I don't think that it can get worse for David Johnson. We've seen that offense go through Sam Bradford. We've seen that offense go through a rookie of Josh Rosen. We've seen that offense go with Mike McCoy, who is an awful, awful coach. I don't know if it gets worse for David Johnson, and so I'm okay with buying at his floor to see if it goes up. Now, the offensive coordinator that took over was Brian Leftwich. Those of you who know, Brian Leftwich was a quarterback in the NFL league, bounced around between plenty of teams, Jacksonville, Atlanta Falcons, Steelers, Tampa Bay, pretty much just a backup quarterback. Eventually, he does get his very first job as outside of being a quarterback for the NFL. For Bruce Arians in the Arizona Cardinals in 2016 as the quarterback coach. This year, he comes into this year with Steve Wilkes as also the quarterback coach, but then when they fired the offensive coordinator, he got promoted. So there's not a whole lot of information on the offensive coordinator, Brian Leftwich, but I will say that's almost a good thing because we know what we had in Mike McCoy, and it wasn't good. I mean, this is the same guy that made the Chargers with Phillip Rivers and all of their awesome weapons look like crap. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like there's more upside with Brian Leftwich there than Mike McCoy. I think it couldn't have gone more downhill.
So if you had David Johnson and somebody offered you James White for him,
well, I already said I would want James White if it's redraft. If we're talking about dynasty, I can't. And the reason is because James White is fantastic by default. I think as soon as you get 2 or 3 of those running backs healthy, it's going to be back to the same mosh pit of one of them will do great. We just don't know which. This is Bill Belichick. I mean, we were talking about a guy to pick up off waiver wires that was going to get 10 carries that we've never talked about before in our entire lives. This is Bill Belichick. So, I mean, I just worry about the future of James White as far as dynasty. Now, redraft, I'll take James White. But, I mean, if I can take somebody who is exciting, like a Marlon Mack, and a little extra and get David Johnson, come to the David Johnson owner, if I can take James Conner. I mean, I don't know what Bell's doing, but I'm fine with that just because of the future of David Johnson. If I can do one of those things, I'm not wanting to give up a real big piece, but I'm okay with it. I think where I get stuck is like people like Joe Mixon. Like, who do you want there, Joe Mixon or David Johnson? I lean David Johnson, but it's not by much.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, just because he's like 20, 25, 26.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking redraft.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Kerryon Johnson and David Johnson, that's a real debate in redraft. I think I lean Kerryon, but I don't think by much. It's hard to tell because Kerryon's coming into his own, and I feel like David Johnson is also still being consistent, just not what you wanted him to be. So I don't know. Kind of where we're at.
Tariq Cohen or David Johnson?
See, that's a debate, and I think it's going to be David Johnson there still too, just because, I love Tariq Cohen. We're going to talk about him later, but I just feel like there's more consistency and there's more workload, and I think too that if I'm the offensive coordinator, if I'm this Brian Leftwich, I am going to use David Johnson. I'm going to hand the ball to David Johnson a lot, especially with a rookie running a quarterback, and I'm just going to make me look like a smart man. I'm going to draw up some creative running back plays. I'm going to draw up some more different plays than just right up the middle and just let David Johnson do what David Johnson does, and now I'm the new hero of Arizona. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, let's play a fun game called Give It to Your Best Player and watch him do what he do. Don't get tricky. Don't just let him run up the middle. Let David Johnson be a dynamic runner, draw some dynamic run plays, and then be like, look, I'm a good offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Let's get the hands
Yeah.
out. Let's get the ball out of hands of Josh Rosen. Let's get the ball. No. David Johnson. David Johnson's show.
Okay. Well, we got to move on. Jonathan, who's your don't stop believing?
Royce Freeman.
Well, I've already stopped.
I have two, Nick, if it's any consolation.
No, don't. I mean, so
That's good advice.
okay. Let me ask you a question. What is the short answer to why you would not believe in Royce Freeman?
Touchdown dependence.
Nope. Okay, then I'll give
And
mine.
lack of
I'll give you mine.
yards.
Philip Lindsay.
Okay.
Yep. 100% Philip Lindsay.
But here's the thing: is Royce Freeman is still averaging 4.4 yards,
How much Lindsay?
about 5.1 yards.
6.8.
So here's my problem with playing Royce Freeman.
Or 5.8. I'm sorry, 5.8.
Yeah, 5.8. So, but here's
So a whole
the
yard and a
thing:
half
is
out more.
this isn't about who am I playing next week.
Even when Philip Lindsay was out, he didn't do that good.
This is about the fact that Royce Freeman still 4.4 yards. What are you going to get for him? Nothing.
But why do I believe in him if I'm not playing him? What am I supposed to do? Have him on the bench and you're my pity cat. I'm gonna love you and pet you. I mean,
yeah, you keep him because something eventually is going to happen. Philip Lindsay will either fade, Philip Lindsay will either get hurt, and those aren't main things. But you have a guy. Name another bench player because Philip Lindsay is listed as a starter. Name another bench player that's averaging 4.4 yards per carry that can produce like Royce Freeman produces. I mean,
Nick Chubb.
Wendell Smallwood has 4.5 yards.
Wendell Smallwood's actually the starter. I mean, so I'm talking about a bench player, and if you talk about in the last 3 weeks, he's had what, 13. He's had 22, 35 carries in the last 4 weeks.
Frank Gore has 4.6 yards a carry.
Let's be honest. Is he really that's a 50% split backfield.
Sounds a lot like Lindsay and Freeman.
I mean, I like Philip Lindsay. He's a better runner than what I thought he would. But number one, you can't get anything for Royce Freeman. You're not going to get what his talent is worth. You're not going to get a guy who rushes.
I know, but like the whole segment is don't stop believing in the fact that you believe that this person will be a playable asset. That this person will one day.
And I believe that he actually will. I believe that all he needs is
3 years from now when he's traded to a different team and.
No, not necessarily. I mean, so you think
changes.
that Philip Lindsay comes in and he is the automatic starter for the Broncos for the future?
Even if he's not the starter.
I've seen this story before.
Even when
doesn't
Philip
happen.
Lindsay didn't play, Royce Freeman didn't do good.
And what week was that?
I forget.
Last week.
They both played last week.
It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Lindsay was out for a week. And I played Royce Freeman. I'm pretty sure I got 4 points.
He got that. He punched somebody. Remember?
So he's got an
Yeah, I don't remember what game it was, but I mean, in the last 4 weeks, I mean, just look at how much workload he's got. I just don't think that. I think that Royce Freeman's talent outweighs anything you're going to get for him, and I think Royce Freeman, if he can get the workload.
So what's the most you pay for him in Dynasty? Like pick wise, 1, 2, 1, 5.
I would still give a high second for him.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I don't know. My issue is I like Lindsay. I think he is more of an unknown talent, absolutely, but I think he has won that job. I mean, 75 carries, 436 yards. I mean, so he's not just doing it like in the air. You can say, well, he's just a pass catching back there. No, I mean, it's 5.8 yards a carry, 75 carries. I mean, that's no joke. As far as attempts go, even being out that game. Philip Lindsay has, let me see, more carries than Royce Freeman, despite being ejected from a game. 4 more carries. He is actually the 23rd in the amount of carries for the season. I mean, granted, now there's buys and other stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's a two-headed monster, and I think that Lindsay has the pass catching role there, and so it turns into a 60-40. I mean, and I'm going Lindsay. I mean, unless Lindsay goes down, That's the time that Royce Freeman. And I mean, I listen. I came in. I know you loved Royce Freeman. I was on that train a little bit. You were driving the train. I was just in the passenger seat with you, going, yeah, Royce Freeman. So, I mean, and I own him in some dynasty leagues. I'm not saying I don't, but I just I believe in Lindsay more than I believe in Freeman at this point. And you can, hey, listen, I get it. You got to stand on your hill, but it's just not. I'm not with you anymore, John. I jumped off the train a little.
I just don't think that Philip Lindsay keeps it up. I mean, I just don't.
And that's your opinion.
I just don't think he sustains it.
And that's your opinion.
Okay. I mean,
well, but that's what the segment's about. I mean, you're planting your flag on somebody that you still believe in. And listen, a lot of times too, believing in somebody doesn't necessarily mean that you have the stats to back it up. This is just gut. I mean, do I have the stats to show you that go out and buy David Johnson? No. I mean, I just told you that the offensive coordinator is some guy that literally was the quarterback coach for a year. So I mean, Keenan Allen, did you exactly have a whole lot of other than he's good and he will be good?
No.
So, I mean, that's the whole point.
So moving on, a player that I believe will kind of keep doing what he's doing is James Stinkin' White.
That's his middle name.
Yeah.
Legal middle name.
His actual legal middle name cannot be said on this podcast. But, I mean, he took the role of Deion Lewis last year in the receiving back for the Patriots, and with Rex Burkhead being out and Sony Michel maybe being out, I mean, Sony Michel's kind of been a little bit injury. I mean, he was out for the first few weeks of the year. He's out maybe this week.
Yeah, and it's MCL sprain. I mean, those can last a week or two. Those could last a long time.
So James White is like the rock of this running back core. And with the way they're using him, I think he's had one bad week. 1 week that I would consider bad.
And I wish that you would keep listening to this podcast because, I mean, how many weeks ago was it that I said, go out and buy James White? I was like, I think that we just forget we're stuck on the names. You know what I mean?
Look, if I started Patriots running backs, I'd be playing.
I forgot who told me, but they were like, yeah, I traded, I forget, maybe it was Keenan Allen, but they were like, I traded Keenan Allen for Cooper Kupp and James White. They told me this 3 or 4 weeks ago. If they made this trade, they're looking pretty right now. I mean, just to be honest. I mean, once Cooper Kupp gets back and, stuff like that. And they told me, they're like, the reason I did it was because your podcast. And I was like, well, thanks. I was like, hope it works out.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think it is. I mean, and hopefully Cooper Kupp is back. So I like that. I mean, my person is Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen, we keep on kind of playing this fun game with Tariq Cohen going, oh, he's good. No, he's not. Oh, he's good. No, he's not. Where is Tariq Cohen as far as a PPR running back?
Running back 1.
Okay. What do you think, John? Like number, like running back 11, 12, 13, 14, 23, 28, 29.
I'd say he's like 14.
In PPR, I'd say, 15 to 20.
He is running back 12. And keep in mind, hold on now. That's with a bye week. So he has one less game than some of the people in front of him. Nice. I actually sent out this tweet. It was my morning shower thought. Last year we were hyping Isaiah Crowell on the Browns, and we said, "Go out and get Isaiah Crowell. It's so good." And then Duke Johnson's like, "Hold my beer," and becomes running back 11 for PPR formats. I mean, he was the guy to own. Tariq Cohen or Isaiah Crowell nowhere to be found. Okay. This year, we kind of hyped Jordan Howard. I was one of these hypers. I was on the train shoveling in coal, just sitting there. Yeah, boy. All right, on the Jordan Howard train. And then next thing you know, Tariq Cohen, hold my beer. And I feel like he may do what he did last year. Like the same thing. I think we're just seeing history repeat itself. Mm-hmm. He is not the run between the tackles. He's got 38 carries for 184 yards. That's 4.8 yards a carry. That's not amazing. Where Tariq Cohen makes his hay is 29 receptions at 328 yards. He catches the ball, and I think that Matt Nagy wants to run in the air. Like that's what he wants to do. He wants to dump it off to running back and watch a running back run after that. He does not want to run it up the middle. That's not what he wants to do. He's not much of a between the tackles. We do it from time to time. The Chicago Bears do it from time to time. But it's not game scripted like that. That's not us. That's not the Bears. And I think I believe it. I just believe that Tariq Cohen is the future. And luckily, in most of my dynasty leagues, I have Tariq Cohen as my backup to Jordan Howard just in case he got hurt. I went out and got him. But I am playing Tariq Cohen over Jordan Howard in every league that I have both of them. You have to. I mean, it's painful to say, but you have to.
I mean, when one plays better than the other, you
and it's not just like, oh, it's
one.
one game. Okay. Week 4 against Tampa Bay is 23.4 points. Oh, I'm sorry, that's in standard. Let me refresh. 30.4 points against Tampa Bay, and you can say, well, it's his game script. Tampa Bay sucks against the pass. Then against Miami, 23.1. And you're like, okay, maybe. Then by New England, week 7, 22.3. Once again, by beer pong rules, he is on fire. We cannot ignore this. And so Tariq Cohen is going to be that sneaky buy that I think at the end of the year, people are going to go, wait, he was a running back 1? Like we did with Duke Johnson. And him is your running back 2 or in your flex, all sauce. Just sauce on sauce. Like I guarantee you could take David Johnson, who was 1 spot ahead of him, who, by the way, has 4 or 5 points more than him on the whole year. Take David Johnson and flip him for Tariq Cohen plus quite a bit. Like, not just a little bit, quite a bit. And the owner would be like, sure.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you could take David Johnson and flip him for, because of the name, in some leagues, in redraft, James White and Tariq Cohen. Like, maybe. I mean, I think with Sony going down, that hurts you. But I'm just saying, like, I think Joe Mixon and Tariq Cohen for David Johnson isn't out of the question. Just saying, it didn't have to be David Johnson, but I'm just saying it's something to think about that you can buy Tariq Cohen on the lack of his name.
Yeah. Moving on, John. Who do you believe is going to continue doing what they're doing?
Alshon Jeffrey.
Okay.
He's been pretty good.
Man, it hurts me to say as the resident Alshon Jeffrey hater, but yes, he has been doing well.
Over the last 4 weeks, he's at least a top 10 wide receiver. I mean, keep in mind he missed the first 4 games. Over the last 4 weeks, he has had 306 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, and 25 receptions. So in a PPR league, he's even better. I mean, he's doing fantastic. He's actually, when we talk about receptions per game, this is his best season as of yet. I mean,
and he's had only 1 game out of the 4 he's played that he pooped on you. And it was against Minnesota, which, I mean, Minnesota has a good defense. I mean, Xavier Rhodes is no joke. So, I mean, and even though he didn't poop, he just, 5.9. He let out a little squeaker on you.
Yeah.
Surprise.
I mean, so I like Alshon Jeffrey a lot. I think he's going to keep doing what he's doing. And then just really quick on Alshon Jeffrey, and then I have one other guy, and it's George Kittle. The reason why I'm bringing him up, I actually recently just traded for George Kittle. He's doing fantastic. 13 points a game takes him to.
Oh yeah.
And that's not even counting in week 7, because week 7's not over. But George Kittle, before week 7 is even calculated in, he's the 5th tight end. He's actually even above Gronk. He's above Jimmy Graham. He's above Kyle Rudolph. He's above Trey Burton. I mean.
Now, I will tell you, too, keep in mind this, moving forward with Alshon, if I'm looking at this right, okay? So, they played the Vikings. He had a little pooper on you. Played the Giants. Did fantastic. Played the Panthers. Now, the Panthers have a decent defense, but they're not amazing. I think they have a better run defense than a pass, if I'm recalling. Next schedule, though, Jacksonville Jaguars, the Cowboys. Then you have the Great Saints. That's good. That's a good matchup. Then the Giants. That's a good matchup. But then you have the Redskins, the Cowboys, and the Rams again. Then the Texans and the Redskins. So he has kind of the ups and downs, and he's still going to be great. But I think he's going to have a little drought there for a little bit, and then back to good, and then another little drought. He has some rough matchups coming up. That's all I'm saying.
Sure,
but he's still a play. I mean,
sure. I mean, it's tough matchups. Each of those defenses have been exploited.
Oh yeah,
including Dallas. I mean,
And they're a lot more of a run D too, I think, than they are really like good against the run.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, they have good games, bad games.
There's so many inconsistent like teams. I mean, even like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, they've looked like, I'll just say it, hot garbage. I mean, we talk about how great their defense is, but I mean, I saw a tweet about it talking about like fantasy wise, their defense has not been what it was last year. And they were like, why is that? Blah blah blah. And I was like, this is why we don't draft defense on a redraft league until late. Like, this is why. I mean, I saw the Jacksonville Jaguars going like round 10 of a redraft, and I'm like, nope, have them.
No, they're all streamers.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is what happened. I mean, the Eagles' defense was one of the best defenses owned, and they were basically undrafted last year. This year it'll be someone else. I mean, I have the Chicago Bears in a redraft league, and I'm just leave them.
I would streamed the Broncos,
Yeah,
and it was beautiful.
you could have streamed the Colts last week against the Bills. You can stream anybody against the Bills. 11 people out of the stands playing if they're playing the Bills. What was that one stat that you had that like Todd Gurley had more points?
Todd Gurley has more points than the entire Bills offense.
Like fantasy points.
No. NFL points.
Okay.
He has scored more NFL points.
I saw this that Brock Osweiler has thrown more touchdowns than all the Bills quarterbacks combined. Brock
Probably
Osweiler.
thrown less interceptions too.
Yeah. Let
They,
that sink
they
in.
may have thrown more interceptions than his touchdowns.
So who is the worst team in the NFL?
The Bills.
I think it has to be the Bills. Like, you got to take away that one surprising game where they came out and beat the snot out of the Vikings.
You don't think it's the Raiders?
No.
Who do the Raiders have?
Derek Carr, Jared Cook. That's
They
more.
have Khalil Mack. Ooh.
Gotcha. But I mean, me saying Derek Carr and Jared Cook outbeat what the Bills have. I can name a decent asset. How bad does Corey Coleman have to be to not even make the Bills roster? I think I
could have
make
told
the
you
Bills
3
roster.
years ago Corey Coleman was useless.
I mean, in about
But
10
no one
years, he has a chance of making the Raiders.
All right, that's it, guys. We appreciate all our sponsors. Hey, thank you. Also, SportsSabermetrics.net. We'll be talking about them. Join us on Sunday mornings for a live Periscope. We're going to be going over each match. And we're also going to be taking your questions. Starts, sits, trades, whatever you got. If you ever have any questions, join us at F3Pod. Go ahead and give us a follow. We will answer any and all questions there, retweet polls, the whole nine. Be sure to also check out our website, thefffranchise.com, for videos, rankings, articles, merch. We sell some awesome merch, some great quality stuff there. Thank you all so much for supporting this podcast. We'll see you next week. And I'll see you, Nick, without a shirt on. That's right.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast, and follow us at F3Pod.